Tonight on Cronkite News, the Arizona Coyotes held their first media day, and with their season underway next week, what can fans expect as they still look for a new home?
Plus, more Arizona State football for Saturday against the Fresno State Bulldogs, how the Sun Devils plan to fill in some gaps on offense.
And more problems arise for thousands of migrants brought to the U.S. as children after a federal judge again declares that DACA is illegal. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Paul Schultz.
And I'm Beatrice Martinez. Thank you for joining us.
The Arizona Coyotes held their first media availability this week ahead of training camp, and the Pack had a lot to unpack.
Including the topics of playing in the NHL's smallest arena, long-term arena solutions, and even which rookies to expect to see on the ice. Matt Venezia joins us from the newsroom with more on the season outlook.
That's right, guys. The Arizona Coyotes have had an interesting offseason, and let's start with this. Entering year 2 of the Coyotes' 3-year Mullet Arena deal with Arizona State, the NHL team still has no official plans for when the team option concludes. However, management has insisted that the Coyotes are here to stay for the long run.
We're here on a Tuesday. It's 110 degrees. The ice den is packed. This is a hockey market. We know it, we're committed to it, and we're going to do everything we can to bring a Stanley Cup to this valley.
Having 5 first-round picks over the last 3 NHL drafts has helped the Coyotes rebuild quicker than usual. And one of those selections, the 2022 draft's 3rd overall pick, Logan Cooley, has had an interesting offseason of his own. After initially stating he wanted to follow up his 60-point freshman season in Minnesota and return to school, the Hobey Baker finalist has decided to make the jump to the NHL and is expected to be an immediate impact player for the Pack.
It's been, like you said, pretty hectic of, going back to school, turning pro. So there's been a lot of, mixed emotions of both of those decisions, and, I'm happy with the decision I made. I feel like I'm ready. I feel like I'm ready to play in the best league in the world. So I'm looking forward to doing it, and, I'm excited it's coming here soon.
Cooley and the rest of the young players expected to join the roster are lacing up their skates right away. The Coyotes and the Los Angeles Kings will take part in the NHL's Global Series in Australia. The 2 games being played will mark the first ever NHL games played in the land down under, starting on September 23rd. That means not as much time to have a traditional preseason of roster cuts and scrimmages because of the travel time and even the jet lag. However, this could be what this team needs ahead of the season.
You're right down to the numbers, and you're off to Australia in a plane to bond together. I think just being together in that short period of time, quickly traveling together, going through a little bit of adversity with 17 hours there, 17 hours on the way back, I think it's going to bond us. And Coach, obviously gets to work with the players that he thinks he's going to have the best chance to make the team.
34 hours of flying time over a few-day stretch. I don't think I could do that. But nonetheless, the Global Series is just one of several off-season storylines that involves this Arizona Coyotes group. In the newsroom, Matt Venezia, Cronkite News.
Thanks, Matt. In the latest move designed to keep its best players on the court, the NBA is enacting tougher rules this season to direct teams in how and when they can sit all-stars for rest, often referred to as load management. Yesterday, the NBA took steps to try to ensure that its star players appear in more games, particularly nationally televised matchups and the brand new in-season tournament. The new player participation policy focuses on star players who have been an all-star or on the All-NBA team in any of the prior 3 seasons. So that includes Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal. The league will penalize teams that violate the policy by fining them $100,000 for the first infraction and $250,000 for the second. And it goes up by $1 million each one after that.
Well, despite setting some historic milestones, the Phoenix Mercury's 2023 season was disappointing. However, the players and staff still remained in high spirits during their exit interviews. Cronkite News reporter Trey Matthews has more on what has the team so optimistic.
Obviously, it was an underwhelming season on many levels, but as far as the players, I feel like we came every day and tried to do the best that we can and make it as enjoyable as we could.
The Phoenix Mercury finished with a record of 9-31, which was good for dead last in the WNBA standings. From dealing with injuries to having a coaching and front office change mid-season, this year wasn't exactly an ideal one for the Mercury. However, despite the struggles, star player Diana Taurasi had nothing but positive things to say about her interim head coach, NIKKI Blue. Taurasi hopes that Blue will return next season as the Mercury's full-time coach.
I mean, Coach Blue would do an amazing job with, a whole offseason to implement what she wants to do, what she visions this team looking like. She would be an amazing asset to our team or to any team, really.
Mercury guard Sophie Cunningham also credits Blue for changing the team's culture while still maintaining an optimistic work environment.
I think she definitely turned the culture around a little bit, and we were positive, the coaches were positive, and it's really easy to come to practice or come to your job every day and be negative and knowing that everyone's trying, but maybe we just don't have the talent.
Despite being uncertain about the future, Blue was ecstatic to hear that her players respected her and vouched for her to remain with the Mercury's organization.
That means everything to me. I mean, we were in the trenches together. We were fighting. And I'm glad that they appreciate the efforts from myself and my coaching staff. And I'm glad to hear that because, there are going to be some big decisions that have to be made coming up.
Nick Uren was hired as the Mercury's general manager in July. He has faith that he can help shapeshift the roster in a short amount of time, but is aware that not everything is guaranteed.
I think in this league, things can get turned around relatively quickly. I think in theory, we have a better version of BG coming back next year. She's been through so much the last few months. The lottery pick and hopefully add a little bit of talent in free agency. So no idea where it'll all lead, but I'm hopeful we can take a positive step forward next year.
While the season might be over for the Mercury, the organization still remain with a positive attitude and are looking forward to next season. In Phoenix, Trey Matthews, Cronkite News.
ASU football continues their home stretch on Saturday against the Fresno State Bulldogs. And while the team is looking to bounce back from last week's loss, there's still another roadblock ASU must face. The team has taken a huge hit when it comes to injuries on the offensive side of the ball. Veteran leader Emmett Boley is out for the season, forcing ASU to reconstruct its O-line. The Sun Devils are looking to get back on the winning track by hopefully spoiling the Bulldogs' 11-game win streak that dates back to last season. Kickoff is set for 7:30 p.m. in Tempe at Mountain America Stadium.
Beatrice, also a lot of high school football this weekend, but there are 3 big games tonight, all involving ranked teams.
That's right, Paul. Tonight, it's number 4 Saguaro versus Shadow Ridge. The SaberCats definitely want to bounce back after their loss to Basha last week. Then we have number 9 Pinnacle and number 24 Horizon facing off, and this is a big rivalry game, and both teams are unbeaten so far.
And rounding out Thursday Night Lights, we have number 16, Desert Mountain taking on Cactus in Glendale. The Wolves also 3-0, trying to make it 4 tonight.
Coming up next, an Arizona State athlete is making her return to Tempe. What she learned from playing on one of the biggest stages in sports.
Plus, it's been pretty nice around the valley this week, but will the nicer temperatures stay with us for the weekend? Your weather forecast is next.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage.
Against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news.
The bill also gives parents the ability to see.
And entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communications Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
This is CN to Go. I'm Emily Olson with your Wednesday news briefing.
Do you want to create innovative content for Cronkite News? Do you enjoy listening to podcasts? Then CN to Go is for you. Cronkite News to Go is a podcast where students cover the latest headlines. Students become audio producers and hosts and will learn how to write, record, and edit stories. You can listen to the latest episodes on these platforms.
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience.
Pales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
And develop your skills with the latest technology.
After a mixed showing in New York, the Diamondbacks return to Chase Field for a critical homestand that includes games against the other two NL wildcard teams trying to secure a spot. Take a look at this, Beatrice. They open with a 3-game series with the Cubs starting tomorrow night. Chicago sitting directly above the D-backs in the wildcard standings. Then 2 games with the Giants, who are chasing them for that 3rd wildcard spot.
Yeah, that's right, Paul. They have to win those series. Right now, the odds makers actually have the Giants with a slight edge over the D-backs to make the playoffs. And take a look at the projections from FanGraphs. They have the Giants at nearly 40% chance of making it to the D-backs 34%. And clearly, they think the Cubs are a lock at a nearly 77% chance of making it. So, Paul, these next 5 games for Arizona will definitely be interesting. Moving on to women's soccer for just the 2nd time in program history, ASU women's soccer sent one of their own to the World Cup. Cronkite News reporter Evan Reiser has more on how Rennie hopes to use her experience to lead the Sun Devils.
Senior forward Gabi Rennie represented her home country of New Zealand in the 2023 World Cup. For Gabi, it was important to take a step back and realize the significance of taking the field in the spotlight of her home country.
It was one of those moments where you do kind of pause and go, wow, look how far I've come, look how far football's come, look how far women's sport has come. And I was just so grateful that I got to be a part of such a momentous moment.
Achieving a lifelong dream is an impactful moment. Even more impactful when it lasts just a few short weeks. After experiencing the World Cup and the preparation leading up to it, Rennie had to make an adjustment back to collegiate soccer.
I think the key for Gabi was giving her the needed rest after the World Cup, because people notice the 2, 3, 4 weeks, however long you're at the World Cup, and they think that that's all the work you've put in, but the New Zealand national team worked extremely hard for months in the build-up for that World Cup, and so it was important for Gabi to have not only a physical rest after the World Cup, but an emotional one as well.
And Rennie had to quickly switch her mindset from taking a back seat to the more experienced players in the World Cup to being a leader on the ASU team.
It's definitely a big adjustment. I mean, I'd say the collegiate game and then obviously the international game is 2 very, very different breeds. So I think for me it's, and also I think in my national team, I'm a younger player. I'm there kind of to learn and like gain experience. Whereas when I'm here, I'm now an older player and I'm there to kind of give expertise and experience, I guess, and try and step up as a leader in that regard.
Yeah, I think she's come on a lot from when she first came here. Like she's learned a lot from her group back in New Zealand, and they've probably got some more senior girls in her team, older girls, but she's one of the older girls here, so it's nice that she can bring back what she's learned over there to here.
Every team is always looking for big game experience. Luckily for ASU soccer, they don't have to look far. In Tempe, Evan Reiser, Cronkite News.
Well, we've seen some much cooler temperatures this week here in the Valley.
That's right, Paul. But will those lower temps stick around through the weekend? Evan Reiser is back from Tempe with the answer.
All right, guys, as you can see right now, we'll see it in the high to mid 90s, but it'll cool off throughout the night as we'll see it get a tick below 90 at 89 degrees here at 10 p.m. And as we take a look at the whole state, we'll see some showers tonight in the northern part of Arizona up near Flagstaff, but they'll move out in the morning, and we'll see some scattered showers throughout the middle northern part of the state. But as we take a look at tomorrow's low temperatures, we'll see 79 here in Phoenix, 44 up at the Grand Canyon, and 70 down in Tucson. And it's going to remain hot here. 102 here in Phoenix, tied for hottest across the state, 72 up at the Grand Canyon, and 98 down in Tucson. As we take a look at the 8-day forecast, You can see this weekend, it's the perfect weekend to get out to the pool, get out to the lake, have some fun in the sun. 102, 105, 104 as our highs this weekend. Sun will stay out all weekend and through the week as we see the temperatures drop just below 100 at the end. 99 and 99 again as the highs on Thursday and Friday. In the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Evan Reiser.
Coming up next, a look at what's making news around the country and right here in the Valley.
That's right, including a new report that ranks how states are doing when it comes to clean energy jobs. Find out where Arizona fits in when we return.
Here at the TV Production and Graphics Lab, we are behind the scenes making the news happen. Gain experience in the control room directing, teledirecting, and rolling the audio of every Cronkite News show. Run the floor and work in a professional environment, honing your skills for the future. Create graphics that will be seen by the local community on Arizona PBS. Be a part of the bloodline that makes the Cronkite News shows possible.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sensei Garage,
to sports coverage,
Against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news,
The bill also gives parents the ability to sue.
and entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
I'm Cameron Arcand with a look at news from around the country. Today, President Biden's administration restored power to the states and Native American tribes to protect their waterways. This reverses a rule during the Trump administration that limited the ability of tribes and states to review plans for things like dams, pipelines, and energy projects. But this reversal means they'll now have more authority to block projects that could pollute rivers and other waterways. But there is some bad news for Biden's administration, and a federal judge has ruled that DACA is unlawful. DACA is the Obama-era regulation aimed at protecting young adults who are brought to the U.S. as children from deportation. Last year, the president's administration tried to save the program, and even though the judge declared a revised version of the policy illegal, the judge also decided not to end it immediately. The ruling is expected to be appealed all the way up to the Supreme Court for the third time. Meanwhile, President Biden's son Hunter was indicted today on federal firearms charges. The indictment says Biden lied on a form when he bought a gun, allegedly ticking a box he was saying he was not a drug user, when he reportedly was using drugs. In all, Hunter was charged with 3 counts. He could face up to 25 years in prison if convicted. And a Georgia judge ruled that former President Donald Trump will not stand trial next to his 2 co-defendants, Sidney Powell and Kenneth Chesebro. This means the trial for President Trump will not begin next month, but it will for Powell and Chesebro. They're accused of trying to overturn the results of the 2020 election. But Trump and the other co-defendants claim that they could not be ready by the October trial date. The world's largest search engine is being sued by the federal government, and it may change the way you use the internet. The Department of Justice's antitrust lawsuit against Google started Tuesday. The DOJ alleges that Google has created a monopoly over other search engines when it comes to digital advertising. The DOJ says Google uses anti-competitive, exclusionary, and unlawful means to deter companies from going with their competition for services. As Google dominates 90% of the search market, the consequences of the lawsuit could impact consumers. The National Taxpayer Union president, Pete SEPP, warns that there could be downsides if the lawsuit goes the government's way.
First of all, consumers could end up paying for search services or have fewer options for search that they actually want to use.
Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays joined attorneys general from 17 states with the department's complaint. Mays says she's committed to fighting monopolies, in a statement adding that healthy competition in the digital marketplace improves the quality of products, reduces costs, and benefits consumers. SEPP added that he thinks the lawsuit is not in the public's best interest.
Arizona's Attorney General Mays, as well as other attorneys general around the country, are pursuing cases that their taxpayers put a very low priority on.
The lawsuit is expected to be in court for the next 10 weeks. Back here in the Valley, a heated meeting last night in Scottsdale over a hotel for people experiencing homelessness. Dozens of people showed up at yesterday's meeting, and many questioned the effectiveness of the city's homelessness hotel program. Those who oppose the hotel program spoke to lawmakers with the message that the homelessness hotel program is, quote, dangerous, reckless, and damages the city. According to Scottsdale officials, the program has had success getting homeless people back on the job market and off the streets. Some have said that sun-drenched Arizona has the potential to be the Saudi Arabia of solar power, and a new report says the state is moving toward that potential. Cronkite reporter Rennie Romo brings us a story from our Washington bureau.
The Clean Jobs America report says the clean energy industry employed 61,583 workers in Arizona last year, an increase of 4% from the year before. One Greater Phoenix Chamber official was not surprised.
So Arizona is obviously leading the way in the clean energy jobs report, and not at all surprising given all of the recent investments that have been made in our community.
Jennifer Mallour pointed to the surge in electric vehicles manufacturing in the states as one example of the state's clean energy jobs.
So we've had a lot of clean energy jobs come to the market, and it's really this compounding effect.
That's just one of the many industries identified in the annual report by environmental entrepreneurs known as E2. Its report said green jobs include everything from manufacturing and installing solar power to weatherizing homes. The E2 report said Arizona added more than 2,300 jobs between 2021 and 2022. That left the state just shy of the nearly 62,000 clean energy jobs it had before the COVID pandemic. But E2's Michael Timberlake says Arizona has a lot of company.
Arizona is one of the few states that still hasn't, actually a lot of states have it. It's about 50-50 on states that have fully surpassed its pre-COVID numbers.
The report said Arizona had the 6th most solar energy jobs in the country. The largest job category in the state was in clean energy construction. Timberlake said that overall, Arizona is still ahead of the game, and Mallour agrees.
One thing I would just mention is that Arizona is also a great place climate-wise to grow clean energy jobs.
With Arizona seeing around 300 sunny days a year, officials expect the state to be back above pre-pandemic employment levels for clean energy jobs in no time. In Washington, Rennie Romo, Cronkite News.
A local brewery is rebranding several of their beers in honor of National Suicide Prevention Week, which is happening now. Oso Brewery and Distillery unveiled the 988 line of beer. 988 is the number for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. This cause is especially important to the owner of the brewery, who has known several people touched by suicide in his life. The rebranded brews are available this month around town and across 19 states. That's it from the newsroom. I'm Cameron Arcand. Paul and Beatrice, back to you.
Coming up next, an intense match between two soccer teams is interrupted by two intruders.
That's right, two dogs decided to really rough things up. More of the adorable video up next. Soccer players are known to rough around, but two unwanted guests.
Casting has changed a lot since the time of Walter Cronkite. That's why here at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism, you can learn the studio production skills of today in real time. Whether you want to work audio, direct, technical direct, design graphics, or you can even run the floor. It's all part of the Television Production and Graphics Lab here at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. We're going on in 3, 2...
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience
Nopales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
and develop your skills with the latest technology.
Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communications Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Soccer players are known to rough around, but two unwanted guests were really roughing it during a high school soccer match in North Dakota.
The high school game was underway when two dogs ran out onto the middle of the field. Officials actually had to stop the game for a bit, which was just enough time for a player to give one of the dogs a belly rub.
Well, that's it for Cronkite News. Thank you so much for joining us.
And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.